But by the first field, Schaefer, she had a boy, and they named him William Friedrich. With old seats, if any of you remember them, two sat in the seat, you put your books under the desk you wrote on.
Mm-hmm.
You're sitting on the seat part of the desk behind you. Well, the two of us were assigned the seat, and it was Freddie Schaefer.
Freddie Schaefer.
Was my seatmate. Her books, we'd take them, put them in underneath when we.
Any of these people remember Freddie Schaefer? No, he was
Pardon?
handicapped. Anyway, I remember Freddie.
Some of you are old enough to remember that, surely.
John does.
Anyway, in second or third grade, I'm not sure now, of course, that's been a long time. Freddie's mother ran that store in the corner of the yard, and at recess, if we had a nickel or something to go with, we could go to the store and get us a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever we want. And I think she spoiled most of us and sold us something that might have been worth more than a nickel just because we was a student, you know. And the big sliding board between the school and that, and a well. And the water we got to drink, we had to go over and pump it out of the well in her yard. So it was just a family affair there at that family, really. And I went to school one morning. Freddie was already there in the seat, and he leaned over to me and said, "I got a big apple under here." And he reached in and showed it to me. He said, "We'll eat that during school, not at recess." So she would teach the first grade a little while, and then she'd move up. Well, he'd lean over and tell me, he said, "Watch for the teacher so she won't catch us." He'd lean over and take a big bite of the apple and chew that. He'd sit up and he'd say, "You go ahead." I would. We ate the apple that day. One of us would watch to make sure the teacher didn't catch us. School had been going on about a month, I guess, that fall. One Friday, we ate that apple. And Monday, I got to school, and they said, "Freddie's in Louisville Hospital." And I said, "What in the world's wrong?" They said, "They're not sure yet." They said he's just very, very ill. Well, rather than drag the story out, he had the first case of polio in Spencer County. And the health doctor, we had a health nurse and a health doctor here at that time, if any of you remember that. They was both out there and was questioning and all. And I don't remember who, whether one of the teachers or somebody asked him, said, "What's he got?" They said, "We don't know, but he's paralyzed and very sick." So they said, "Well, is this whatever he's got contagious?" They said, "We don't know." And they asked the teacher, said, "Where did he sit?" And they told Mary. So he said, Cecil and him sat there in double seat. And he said, "Did you all eat together or anything that day?" Before I could answer, the teacher said, "Yeah, they ate an apple." So one of them would lean over and eat off an apple and sat up and still be chewing on it, and the other one would lean over and he'd eat on apples. So we thought we got by with something, but she had seen us the whole time and didn't say anything. Well, they quarantined me for 6 weeks. Said I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go to town with Mother and Dad. I couldn't go anywhere. Health nurse or doctor would stop by home and check my temperature and all that for a while. Dad appreciated that. I was old enough I could help him shuck corn, had it cut and then shocked, and shuck it and then put the shock back up. You may know what I'm talking about, probably. At least I could kind of round the piles of corn up there when he'd pitch them up on the ground. So I stayed home and shucked corn, or worked with that for 6 weeks. Nothing had showed up with me, and they found out then, said he had polio. Well, I never did have it. As I say, they watched me for quite a while. And he stayed in the hospital a long time, then in Louisville someplace, and finally got back home sometime the next summer and was paralyzed from then on. I don't know if you ever remember him or not. He got 2 years behind me in school because he had missed 2 years before he could come back to school in a wheelchair. And it wasn't a problem because he lived next door. They just rolled him over at school, back home. He was getting his schooling. And then they sent him to high school here at Taylorsville. And other boys picked up and they just carried him up and down the steps and all. He got along that fine. Well, when I graduated, I went on to UK to school. And every time I'd come home, I'd have to go see Freddie. He got the nickname of Jake. I never did know where he got it. Go out and see him. He'd ask me all about it up there and tell me to bring him some pictures. And he finally, before he was 2 years of high school up, he said, "That's where I'm going as soon as I graduate." Well, his mother said, "No, you can't go up there." So they said, "You got one class here, and you'll go to a building, we'll be in another class, and up 3 or 4 floors and all that." He said, "I'll make it." He had Dolph's best attitude you ever saw, by the way. So she called me off one day when he was doing something else. She said, "You think he'd make it up there?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I've seen 1 or 2 more up there in wheelchairs, and students just take to them, pick them up and carry them up and down the steps. They get around fine." Well, they let him come on up there, and he went through school and graduated with honors degree in accounting. When he graduated, he had a degree. The state hired him, put him in the finance department, the state capital annex building. He told me, he said, "I'm so far back in that department." He said, "The light don't even shine back there." He said, "Everybody there has got time on me, and I'm the beginner." So he stayed with it and wound up as the director of that department for the last 8 or 10 years. Married, had 1 child, named him Freddie.
Married Phyllis Henry.
Right? He sure did. He married Phyllis Henry.
Phyllis
He was
Schaefer.
on Bucky
You know
Henry,
Phyllis
if anybody
Schaefer worked in the
remembers.
courthouse.
They got 1 boy. I think he's William Frederick also, so he'd be a junior. But if you go to Elk Creek, just after you go through and you make the turn there where you can turn and go back up in where they're building and all, Fred Chapman lived up in there and all that. He's got a garage. But the last I knew of him now, I hadn't seen him 2 or 3 years. He's got a garage there, but he works down in J-Town, I think, in the garage, but he's got one of his own there. He does some work for people on trucks and tractors and all. Made it fine, and Jake died at 44 years old. The surprising thing was, and his mother was still alive then, she told me at the funeral home, she said his daddy died at 44 years old with some kind of a brain problem. They had a girl, he had an older sister, Mary Sue, I think it's Mary Sue. She married a fellow that worked down here in the bank for a while, Ernest Bivens. If you remember him, he wound up being a state trooper. She died at 44 years old with a brain tumor, the same age as her daddy. Same age, 44 years and so many months, like 44 years and 3 months or something. Well, Freddie wasn't too much younger, working in Frankfurt. I only come home, went to bed one night, he died before morning, brain tumor.
Freddie died of
44 years old, 3 months.
Freddie died of a brain tumor.
Pardon?
Freddie died of a brain tumor?
At the same age.
Wow.
That's
How old
what
is that son that has the garage?
I never understood that. That's what
He better
that's
get
what
checked
his mother
out.
told me, and then his wife said after that, said he's the same age as his sister and his mother died. So that's one thing I remember about that school. Him had that first case of polio. Went on and got his way through UK. And he made it fine up there. You wouldn't have known he was handicapped in a wheelchair. If he'd go out, start out somewhere, the boys learned he was going to the building they was in, if they knew him or not, and they'd just grab his wheelchair and take him over and carry him up the steps, bring him back down, sit him down, somebody going to where he's going next and take him, and he just got along fine.
So Cecil, get back to Elk Creek.
Pardon?
Get back to Elk Creek. Elk Creek had 1 store.
Elk Creek had 3 stores at one time.
Really? 3 grocery stores?
His mother had the store there, and it was also the post office.
Okay.
At this end of Elk Creek, where you can turn and go across the bridge and up the hill there, it was a store that Orville Brew owned. He had 2 boy and a girl there in school. He sold out and moved to Mount Washington. A fellow named McDonald bought it, ran it for years, and it's closed down since then. His son-in-law lived in that house right there by it, across from the Baptist church, and he run a garage in the far end of that big building. And then it was one on up before you take a left to go to Wilsonville. The big building on the right was the store there. That's where we did all the voting, if you voted. And it always amazed me. and I'm not getting into politics, but they had to hire someone to work the polls for the Republicans in that district because it wasn't enough out there to work the polls. I think they said they had 6 registered at that time.
A lot of Democrats.
And one of them was Mr. Albert Yates, if you remember him, Bob Yates' daddy. He come down there and vote and worked, sat there at the poll the rest of the day to represent the Republicans. I don't think he had a thing to do hardly.
I think it's the
unusual.
other way around now,
Yeah,
strangely enough.
Elk Creek was, it wasn't too much there really. The church now, we went there, and I remember when the cemetery that's cleared now, has been for years, was growing up with trees about as high as a man's head, or a little higher, buck bushes all over it. I've actually gone and seen men out there with an old scythe, they called it, cutting tall grass down around so they could dig a grave to bury somebody. And they all got together and set a Saturday, and even down people from other churches come in out there, and they cleaned it all up. And Buck Joel lived at Normandy, 2 miles over 3. He took over and run that, kept it mowed, or made sure it was mowed and all, and kept the lots all numbered and sold the lots off. And he didn't even come to church out there. That was an unusual thing. Now his wife and his wife's sister, they'd come to church out there, but he didn't come to church, but he took care of the cemetery. And now, the last I've known for the last 10 or 15 years, McCall is taking care of it. Jim McCall, I think he still is. So it's been kept clean ever since. The bell that's on top of that church, they thought it was going to destroy it. It was just ready to fall off. It was rotted up by all the support and all. And some of them got up there on it, on the church, and aimed to keep the bell up there and move around it. Well, it got to sliding and slid off and down on the ground. Didn't break it, of course. Well, they went on and built a framework for it again, and then couldn't figure out how they was going to get it up there. They didn't have a lift, didn't have a winch, wasn't no tree band big enough. So I'm bigger than my dad was, but I couldn't have done it. But he finally told me, said, if y'all will hold this ladder, I won't have a hand to hold a ladder with, really. I'll take that bell to the top of the steps.
Your dad?
The runner.
Your dad?
Yeah. And said, 2 of you get up there to take it. When I get there, I can't get off the ladder and go in because the ladder's going to be back to the roof out over it. And they said, you can't do it. And he said, try it. And 2 of them got up there, and he took it and went up there and handed it in. Now, he was quivering when he got there.
But he was strong.
Pardon?
He was very strong.
Oh, yeah.
Herbert McGee.
He sure was. But
did Uncle Buck, E.B. Jewell, help with that activity? I've heard that story before.
Did what?
Did E.B. Jewell help you get the bell up there? Was he in on that?
He was there. I don't know who all helped.
That's Charlie's great Uncle Buck.
He was there.
E.B. Jewell.
As far as Charlie's family, I remember them very well. His daddy, his brother, his daddy's brother, another Charles.
Charlie's name has his name because
He was killed in the military.
He died in May. Charlie's born in August, so they
Pilot,
gave him.
and if I
That's where
remember
Charlie's
right,
name.
and I'm going back
He was a pilot
60
in World War II.
years or more. He had completed his time overseas, was ready to come back to the United States. War was still going on. Some boy was sick, the pilot, and he volunteered to take his place just before he come home. He was shot down, killed, and that, as he volunteered to take that boy's place. Well, they sent the body back. It's the first military funeral that I'd ever gone to. Well, I wasn't quite a teenager, I guess. Honor Guard came in as pallbearers, the chrome-plated helmets that if you've seen them wearing the white boots and so forth. Very impressive. I'd never seen that before, and I've never forgotten it. And the church wouldn't start to hold the people that was there.
Was that Elk Creek Church, Baptist Church?
It sure was. It was full on the outside. Back then, no air conditioners, had the windows up, and there's people on both sides so they could hear it. And biggest crowd I ever saw at a funeral there. And first one I'd seen that the military came in and sent the honor guard in to be pallbearers. So that's a memory from there, and it's other things, comical things that's happened down through the years with that church and all. But
Cecil, everybody was farmers, right?
Pardon?
Most people were farmers.
Just about everyone was farmers.
If you weren't a merchant.
There was a lawyer here in town, Hume. I forget his first name now. Heward, I think.
Hume.
He was an attorney here in town. He lived right there in Elk Creek next to the store that was the post office. One of the ladies out there that lived there worked here in the bank, but it's all local.
Mm-hmm.
And now, so many people go to Louisville or they go to Shelbyville or they go to somebody else's work, but they live in Spencer County. Well, then they all work here in the county. It's something. Wasn't near as many houses here either. I said something about.
There was a bank was there a bank in Elk Creek?
I think
So. What? A bank?
A bank.
Not that I remember.
Okay.
Not that I recall. The post office was there.
No.
One thing I asked Cecil was about his dad grew wheat, and did you grind your own wheat? And you said no, you went to
Not Elk Creek, but Rivals.
the Rivals to the mill.
Is.
The mill, that's the
There was a mill over there, and
Van Dyke mill.
Van Dyke Mill. We'd take wheat over there, and they'd grind it into flour, make flour for us. We'd take some corn over there, and they'd make meal for us. And we'd buy some if we needed for the animals. We'd buy some grain, and we usually had enough. It didn't have to buy much of that from them, but I've been there a lot of times, and I remember the old water wheel was turning and grinding, turning some power, And
So that's what they have on their, it's your logo. That's that mill on their historical society. Well, did I also ask you if you ever killed hogs?
Pardon?
On the farm, if you killed hogs?
Killed hogs, killed a beef,
Uh-huh.
killed chickens. You produced everything you could rather than go to the store and buy it like you do now.
Mm-hmm.
Homesteading.
Had a big garden,
What?
and
Homesteading.
besides that, we'd hunt every chance we got, a rainy day or something. So I think it's that way everywhere if you learned on a farm or lived on a farm.
Did you raise tobacco?
Yeah, sure did. Sure did. Run a dairy the whole time. I can remember the revivals. I don't recall who the evangelist was. They had one year and a big crowd coming all the time. No air conditioning. They raised the windows on the church on both sides.
Fan.
And I recall one time I was standing on the right side. Seats were all full. People come in. Teenage boys got up and we stand on. And that church is less than a mile down the road there from it. They were up there sitting outside listening to the church service. They wouldn't come in, but they'd come up there and sit outside to the church, be out there. Someone would still be there when the regular members came out, And the only time I was ever in that black church was Bradford family lived there on top of Withrow Hill. And they had a boy in high school, and he went to Lincoln Institute. He was old enough he was driving. And after he come across the Shelby County line before he got to Elk Creek, he was coming home one afternoon, the front tire blew out on an old car he had. He ran off the bank, hit a tree, and it broke his neck and killed him instantly. And one of those around there near him, went to the funeral, and got there just a little while before it was supposed to start. I'd never been in that church. And they took us down and set us on the front seat, opposite the side the family was sitting on. And he was sitting there and he told them to move. We said, no, we'll stay in the back. No, you're coming down here. So it wasn't anything to do, but that's just the way they were. All got along, wasn't no trouble. Remember a milk truck going right across from the church, just a wooden bridge across Elk Creek there. He was going over one morning after a lot of rain, the water was all up, and the old rotten bridge broke through, and the truck just stood up on the tailgate, the back of the truck. Milk and water both running down the creek, because it was all on cans. And it's a lot of things that's happened out there. The only thing that personal that I remember along that time when I was still in grade school was a killing here in town. You probably all know about that if I can think a lawyer. and I haven't thought of this in years, the shooting down there in front of where the theater was. And a fellow lived out at Elk Creek, and this lawyer down here, and they had a shootout down here, and lawyer was killed way back when I was real young. I'll think of the name in a few minutes. I'm taking so much time.
Cheatham.
Cheatham. And the one that shot him was,
Elder.
pardon?
Elder.
Elder?
Elder.
Yes, I can't think of his first name.
I don't either, but I know where Elder lived out there.
Yeah.
And the thing was, Mother would always wake me at 5 o'clock to go to the barn and help Dad milk in the morning. The morning after that shooting, he was killed. When Mother hollered at me upstairs, I come down, started out, she said, "Now, your dad came back in and said, be awful careful and come straight to the barn. Don't fool around." I said, "What?" She said, "It's a man with a gun sitting out here in the front. He'd taken the wire fence down across the front of the yard and rolled it up, big old loose roll, you know, and left it laying out there." Elder was sitting out there with the gun watching to see if Cheatham, the man or the son? One of them was shot.
The son was shot. His
Okay.
father, that was Thad Cheatham.
Thad
He
Cheatham.
was county attorney,
Yeah,
something like that.
well,
Constable.
Elder was sitting out there with a gun thinking maybe the other Cheatham would be coming out to get him. And when he come up there, saw that fence fold up, he sat down there with it. And he put his car over to Shields' place and then walked over. And Dad went out there and ran him off, I think, but he told me to be careful when I come out there. Been shooting in town, been a killing in town, and a man sitting out here with a gun, so.
How old were you, Cecil? Probably.
10 or less.
Did that man go to jail?
Pardon?
Did the elder go to jail?
I don't think so.
When they,
This nobody did.
when they went to court, Thad Cheatham was the one that shot Elder, who was the county attorney. And he thought that he shot his son also by accident. But they had two people standing on either side of the street, and they both had a different view of who shot whom. So they finally said they just forget about it.
I was gonna say, I don't remember any court. Of course, I wasn't old enough then to worry
Well,
about
I'm
it.
going from a newspaper account from a Spencer Magnet in, I think it was 1940, somewhere in there.
Probably, yeah. I'd been 7, so, but I still remember it.
Well, Cecil.
Anybody got any questions?
Anybody got any
I'm
questions?
just
That's what I was
wondering.
gonna say.
I do. There
Uh-huh.
was- I had a picture, and I was gonna bring it tonight, but can't find it, of the Elk Creek Seminary. It's a school from 1900.
I was gonna say, it's way back,
Yeah, this was, the picture was dated 1900.